Believe in Bigfoot? Dogman? Any cryptid? Are you skeptical?
Curious about the supernatural, conspiracy theories, the unknown? Then come join us as we explore facts, tall tales, and encounters on Creatures and Curiosities.
Hello and welcome to Creatures and Curiosities. I'm David.
And I'm Jake.
And in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the Honey Island swamp monster.
Yeah.
Basically, kind of a Bigfoot.
Kind of.
But I think we'll explore some other theories on what this guy potentially could be.
Yeah, because we're thinking something different.
I'm always thinking something different. You know, it's too mainstream to always assume that something is a Bigfoot.
Right.
Almost every creature out there, it's like a Bigfoot, or it's a Yeti, or it's a Squatch, or it's a this or that. And I think that there's a possibility that it might be something else.
Yeah, well, because when you look at it at face value, that's what I thought before we got into it. But once you get into it, it's like, well, maybe not.
Yeah, the more you study these cryptids, the more there's like similarities between them.
Right.
You know, and then when you start connecting the dots, it's like, well, I wonder if that's an offshoot of that one.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing. But hey, before we get into it, how was your week, Jake?
It was good. Just been busy with work and the kids and no complaints. I mean, it's all fun stuff, but it just seems nonstop. Go, go, go. It's always nonstop.
But, yeah. It's what kids and animals are all about.
Yeah.
It's supposed to bring joy to your life, and they really don't. Kidding, of course.
Love it.
Probably the greatest thing in life is the joy of having children.
Yeah.
Animals, not kidding about.
Yeah,
not really. You know, they're supposed to bring joy, but they bring much suffrage.
Especially because like our dog is very intelligent. So when she doesn't listen, I'm like, you idiot, you know what I'm telling you. I know you know what I'm telling you.
She's like a child. She's pushing the boundaries.
You're smarter than some people I've met.
Right.
And yeah.
And then you got the cat tearing all your wood moldings apart.
Yeah.
I walk into puke every day.
Yeah. I woke up to it this morning on the rug.
Yeah. Why is every cat a puker?
I don't know. Oh, it's because they're all demons. That's what it is.
So the Wampus cat's out there throwing up all over the forest.
All over the forest, yeah.
So if you step in a big pile of puke and you're in the middle of nowhere.
It's the Wampus cat.
It's the Wampus cat.
Yeah, it has to be.
Because that's all they're good for, in my opinion. They are kind of loving when they want to be.
You know, it's one of those like, what do you call it, like catch-22s because they're independent. So you can just throw food at them. Yeah. We have one of those like self-cleaning litter boxes.
Oh, yeah.
Which you have to swap out still like once a month.
Yeah.
So it's like they're low maintenance, but then
and then
but then the maintenance are causing me to fix on my house. It's like, there's no.
I know.
What are we doing?
I know. I'd rather have a cryptid than a...
Yeah. Give me a little chupacabra running around the house, cuddle up with me at night.
Exactly. Oh, goodness. Well, you know what? I'm about ready to take off again. So after our episode breaks on Saturday, I'm taking off to Texas again. So I'm thinking about, heading into the area maybe where the Dogman Triangle is and see if I can't locate a Dogman. I don't know. I know, what do we got? Chupacabra.
Yep.
And then we just saw...
There's a goat man
There's
somewhere
a goat man
over there.
down there, too.
I forget where some...
And he's at like a trestle, too,
yep,
right?
Another bridge. Yeah. Apparently he'll kill you if you mess
I can
with
run across that trestle.
Yeah. One of the little things said if you drive across it with your lights off at night, it'll get you. Or you knock on it is another way.
Oh, yeah.
So just drive across it, hop out, knock on it.
Well, you know what? After our last episode of the Popelick, we did see that there are goatmen in other states.
Yeah.
And I noticed one, and it might have been the Maryland one, that he carried a bloody axe as well. So what is it with the bipedal goats that are carrying axes around here? That's
more horrifying than just the bipedal goat. No, it's got a bloody axe.
That's what it is.
I'd watch that horror movie, though. I wouldn't want to be a part of it, but I'd watch that. Yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, when I get back from Texas, we'll be doing another episode, but I'll fill you in on if I got to see Dogman or not.
Oh, hopefully.
Yeah. And if I come back as one, then you'll know I met one.
Yeah, because it'll be the best day of my life, because then I get to be one, too.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll turn you the second I get
here.
No doubt.
And, if you don't get live the dream of becoming a Dogman, at least you'll get good barbecue.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So there's at least some win there.
I've already been checking out the different restaurants, in Dallas and stuff. But anyway, all right, enough of that. Let's get into the Honey Island swamp monster. Now, I will say this much. When I was traveling from Nashville down to New Orleans. I think I took Highway 59 or something, almost all the way down through Louisiana. And it does go through the little town of, I think it's called Slidwell, which is where the Honey Island Swamp is. Of course, it's like 70,000 acres.
Right, yeah.
So it incorporates a large area, but I think that's one of the towns that I went through where I saw the sign, Honey Island Swamp this way. And I just looked at Grace and I'm like, the Honey Island Swamp monster lives right over there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just fun because as you study these cryptids and you travel the U.S., that's what I'm always thinking. You know, I pull into these towns and I'm like, there is a cryptid that lives, you know, here or just 30 miles that way, you know, and even though it's out of the way, I got to go.
Yeah. And especially when you're like, it's only 30 miles.
Yeah, it's 30 miles. You know, my God, I drove 100 miles to go just see Bray Road.
Yeah.
You know, 100 miles out of our way, which was 200 miles round trip.
Right.
Basically. But
30 miles is nothing.
Yeah.
Especially if you get to see a little goat demon or something.
Wouldn't it be awesome
if
you could, maybe not, you know, maybe haunt your dreams for the rest of your life, but I'd take
It'd be
that
worth
chance.
It'd be worth it.
So.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to see something like that.
You can get some shaky camera footage to bring back and everyone can say you're a nut job.
Exactly. Or you check it and there's nothing on it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It was invisible because it was demonic and you're still the nut job. So anyway, the description of the Honey Island Swamp Monster, he is basically this ape-like bipedal humanoid creature similar to what people would describe as a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch or a skunk ape, you know, depending on what part of the U.S. you're in. Could be Yeti. I mean, you know, there's all kinds of different names for
Yowie.
Yeah. There's so many of them, and they're all basically describing the same basic creature, which we affectionately know as a Bigfoot. The Honey Island Swamp Monster is said to be roughly 7 to 8 feet tall, 400 to 500 pounds, with this long, matted gray or brown, sometimes described as black, hair. And he is usually covered in like swamp weed, which I can kind of picture that, you know, him wading through the nasty swamps that are always algae ridden.
Yeah.
And, you know, all the foliage and the guck that's in those swamps.
Well, I think of something like Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. And skunk ape, you know, when I used to read about it, it was always in a swamp somewhere too. And it smells like the swamp, smells like its surroundings, you know, of just that almost stagnant.
Disgusting, mildewy water. Yeah.
Exactly. So this guy has large, yellow, reptilian-like eyes. And in some cases, it's been reported that he has red eyes. Now, I don't know. Maybe the people that saw the red eyes, maybe it was at night, you know, and it flashed, the retinal flash or something. I think the only real credible sightings of the swamp monster, they all said they were amber or yellow eyes.
And those are all like where you have names, times, locations.
Right.
Not just like, well, someone said they saw red eyes.
Right. So, you know, when we get into sightings, what I've read is that there's been hundreds of sightings over many decades. But finding them, a whole other ballgame.
Right.
And I think it's because the same thing that we've met with other cryptids. People just say, I saw it. It was right over there, you know, and it's like no name, no date, no time. What is there?
Yeah.
And there's such a lack of detail that it isn't worth going into. And I think this particular monster is the same. There's been a lot more sightings than we're going to get into because there's no like validity to them.
Right.
Other than people said, I saw it. And those are the people that it had red eyes. The people that actually watched this thing or had some form of an encounter with it, they all said they were these yellow reptilian style eyes.
Which is where I start to run into a problem with it being.
So this is, exactly. So I'm going to go on for just a second and then I think we need to address that because.
Well, because what else you have to say here kind of adds to our theories.
Right. So he's said to have these huge webbed feet as well, which, you know, the more you study this kind of stuff, this almost like metamorphosis or he's evolved, you know, from whatever. They originally thought he was like this ape-like creature, right? But if he's walking through swampland the whole time, I would imagine at some point you would develop almost like the webbed style feet so that he gets through the muck easier than he would if he was just a 5-toed creature.
Right.
Now, I don't know, but I mean, we'll get into that in a second. But according to and I have to call it alleged, I guess, the alleged plaster casts of the footprints that this guy has left behind, it has only 4 toes. Some reports saying that it's 3 toes, unlike a primate, which has 5. Now, I've seen pictures of the plaster cast, and I would say it's more of a 3-toed creature with almost that little thumb.
Like a dew claw type thing.
Yeah. It kind of.
I don't know what other word you would call it for something.
Off to the side, but towards the back of the foot.
Right.
But the plaster casting that I saw was clearly 3 larger toes. And this casting is roughly 12 inches long by 6 inches wide. So it's not like a huge footprint.
Right.
But what it is this 3-toed reptilian looking thing, which takes it out of the Bigfoot realm for me.
Exactly.
Bigfoot, all castings of Bigfoot are 5 toes.
Right.
Big feet, right? 15 to 20 inches long.
Clearly 5 toes.
Clearly,
there's no question about
toes. You get all the impressions of the toes. And this being 3 takes me back to Lizard Man.
Yeah.
The 3-toed reptile.
Especially with that little offset claw thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
then they're describing his eyes as being yellow and reptilian.
And reptilian. And so the kicker is that it has fur.
Right.
So Lizard Man clearly was scales or lizard-like skin, however you want to say that.
Yeah.
I think it looks scaly.
Right.
And he was green. This guy's brown, gray, or black with fur, but has reptilian feet and reptilian eyes.
Which no Bigfoot has ever been described with reptilian-like eyes or yellow eyes. Maybe the yellow one, I don't know obviously every sighting, but
yeah.
Outside of at nighttime when you get that eye shine or sheen or whatever you call it.
Right. And as you'll recall in the Lizard Man episode, when the sheriff said that he got the 3-toed casting and took it in, and they said this is no animal that we know. And remember, his comment was that it could be like a mutated Bigfoot, right?
Yeah.
And we went, how do you make the jump to a mutated Bigfoot with 3 toes like that?
Right.
That's already been described as a reptile anyway.
Which this would be your mutated Bigfoot here.
And so this is a mutated Bigfoot that would, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but it lends credibility to what the sheriff said, that it could be some mutated form of a Bigfoot.
Right.
But in that episode, it was clearly a lizard.
Right.
So I don't know what we have here, but I don't think it's a Bigfoot.
No.
I think it's more reptile-like, but somehow covered in fur.
So yeah, its own thing.
It's its own thing.
It's its own thing.
Right? I mean, it is literally its own little
like a reptilian aquatic Bigfoot.
Yeah. I don't know, but it says that this guy smells like rotting garbage, and it's been described as like the stench of death, which also has been described as just that musty, stagnant smell of like pond scum, you know, it smells like sewage or something, you know, we've been to little lakes that we've tried to fish for little sunfish or something, you know, and it's got the scum layer of algae and
where you're pulling it off your line every time you bring it in. Yeah.
And it kind of smells like somebody just crapped in the pond. It's like, oh my God, that water's nasty.
Let's find a different spot.
Yeah. So, and that's how this guy's described as smelling, and you can smell it from a distance. So they say, much like Bigfoot, this thing has a human-like face. Well, I've seen different depictions of it, and I don't know how human this thing actually looks. I would say that it looks more beast-like, but I think what they mean is just a facial structure of a human.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like
nose and cheekbones and
right. But I've seen, pictures where they show it with like sharp teeth like an alligator would have. Well, I mean, they're like really sharp, but you know what I mean? The long,
right,
jagged looking teeth.
The more reptile-like.
More reptile.
Yeah.
Right. And so who knows what this guy is, but I'm going to say that if it's a cross between like a Bigfoot and a reptile, has the reptilian eyes, has the reptilian feet with fur, it has to then be an undiscovered species that we don't know what it is.
Yeah. It has to be.
I mean, it has to be.
Yeah, I wouldn't just mark it down as a Bigfoot.
No.
Or Bigfoot-like creature, sure, but not just a different name for a Bigfoot because it's in a different area.
Right. So this guy is sometimes referred to as the Cajun Sasquatch, or in Cajun French, the La Bête Noire, which translates into the Black Beast. And some of the locals there have referred to it as the Louisiana Wookiee or the Thing. And, now you're getting into the Swamp Thing.
Yeah, Swamp Thing, yeah.
Swamp Thing, right. Popular lore in the region is that the monster might be the product of the union between a chimpanzee and an alligator, although I think we know that offspring from these species is likely impossible.
Right.
But there's where they're making the jump that it's like Sasquatch, but reptilian.
Right.
So they're trying to cross a known primate with a known reptile.
It just fits our theory.
To come up with what this thing is. I think that you can't rule out other things, such as, which we've talked about in every episode.
Yeah.
Demonic forces. Right?
Exactly.
Or spiritual things that we cannot understand on this earth. But I have no idea what this thing is.
Probably that.
It's probably that, right? So getting into the location, the Honey Island Swamp, it's actually like a massive marshland located in the eastern portion of Louisiana in the St. Tammany Parish. And the swamp is located within Pearl River's wildlife management area, and it's one of the most pristine swampland habitats in the U.S. This particular swamp is home to the American alligator, snapping turtles, cottonmouth, king snakes, red fox, black bears, bobcats, you name it. I mean, it goes on and on, right?
Yeah.
There's bald eagles and red-tailed hawks and pelicans. The fish in there, are like alligator gar, largemouth bass, paddlefish like we have here in Montana.
Yeah.
That you have to use grappling hooks to fish
Yeah,
for.
those like prehistoric fish.
Yeah, and good eating, from what I understand.
Yeah.
We haven't actually gone out and caught one, but from what I understand, it's pretty tasty fish. And those gar, I know I watch a lot of stuff. I'll throw him a shout out because I love the guy on YouTube and stuff. He's the Stale Cracker.
Oh, yeah.
The Cajun.
He's got good hot sauce.
Yeah, I bought the Rougarou sauces
Yeah.
and his Cajun sauces and stuff. And if anybody wants to take a peek at his products, he makes all these Cajun spices. And
They're
things.
phenomenal.
And he does a lot of cooking. And he was making like alligator gar balls. And so it was just fish balls, and coated in batter and deep fried. They look delicious.
I'm sure they're phenomenal,
but I've never tried
especially
gar.
with some hot sauce.
Yeah. So not only does this particular swampland house all of these different animals, clearly it houses the Honey Island swamp monster.
Exactly, yeah. It has to.
It has to.
Yeah.
It's the perfect eco-environment.
That's why all these things
this guy.
live here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I tried to look up, like, what does this guy eat? Well, according to what some people think, he eats the pigs that are native to that area. So they have these little pigs that run through the swamp, or boar,
Right.
wild boar run through there. And he eats those as his main course. And I would imagine he probably eats whatever vegetation he needs to get by when he's not eating meat.
Yeah.
But he's obviously a carnivore. And in a couple of the sightings, they have come across slain boar with their throats cut out and, been slaughtered and torn apart and eaten. And they know it's got to be the swamp monster.
I mean, if I was out there, I'd be eating wild boar.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
If I'm the Honey Island swamp monster, that's what I'm eating.
Yeah. So the Honey Island swamp itself was given that name due to the large amount of honeybees that used to inhabit a nearby island. I don't know that those honeybees are still there, But when this area was named, it was because they were able to produce all the honey from this little island that was near to that swampland. The swamp actually covers an area that's over 20 miles long and about 7 miles across, and incorporates an area of about 70,000 acres.
So it's huge.
It is huge. And like
which
I
is
said,
the perfect stomping grounds.
It is. Because even though I would say the area is well-traveled, there's tours and things. There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of hunters that go out there. You know, they're always doing stuff. It is a wildlife management area as well. So some of the animals there are protected. And so we're better. Would You Hide is an area that's like a protected wildlife management area. And that vast, though. I mean, we're not talking about a 2-acre lake or something, you know, that you could spot this thing. 70,000 acres, this thing could go hiding amongst the trees and lay down in the water. You'd never see it.
And for those of you out there that would think, oh, come on, there's no way it knows that. Look how dumb deer are. And how many times have you been out spotting deer and you're like, oh, I could pop that thing right there. And then you realize it's right on private land.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they know.
Or when they get scared, they run and jump onto private land, and then they'll just stand there. They don't keep running.
Yeah.
It's like they know that area is protected.
And
so it'd be easy for him to know that he's in protected area.
I think so too. And you know what? We don't give animals that credit. Every time I've ever gone out hunting, eastern Montana, and I would go out there to hunt antelope. And as soon as you see these antelope, of course, they spot you 1,000 yards off.
Oh, yeah.
They have like that 8X vision or something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. They're just as powerful as the binoculars I'm using.
Yeah, if not more.
To scope them, and they're looking at you from a mountaintop, you know, way off in the distance, and then they run. But getting back to what you're saying, it's almost like they all wear eye watches or something. They know the date, they know the season.
Yeah.
And it's like October 1st or something, you know, whatever the hunting season opens. It varies because it's always that Saturday. But like I went out October 10th, I think it was. I went out spotting them like a week prior.
Yep.
And there were thousands of them. I mean, you couldn't drive 10 feet without spotting a herd of 20.
Right.
I went out opening day, crack of dawn, and there's not one out there. They're all like hiding. And then you drive across some farmland and there's a fence line. And here's state property on this side, then the fence, and then the farmer's property that you have to get permission to hunt. And they're all laying over there.
Yep, hanging out.
Yeah, and they're flipping you the bird.
Yeah, they know.
It's like, they know.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, these guys know. And so if you have any more intelligence at all, then you would certainly know that you're in a wildlife management area. Nobody could do anything to you if they saw you. Right. And so I agree with you. Yeah. This guy knows exactly where he is.
Because he's got to be smarter than deer and antelope.
Yeah.
You know, obviously that's a big assumption, but I'm going to go out on that ledge and say that he's smarter.
Well, I'm buying into it.
Yeah.
And he is elusive.
Right.
I just like Bigfoot. And there's a million theories behind that whole demonic, primate, alien, you know, whatever you think it is. A lot of people will say, well, the reason you can't see them is because they become translucent. You know, they can disappear. They can camouflage into the background. They can do all these things.
Like the predator.
Yeah, like predator. And that's certainly possible. I mean, I can't take it outside the realm of possibility because that's might be one of the reasons why nobody can ever get decent footage of it or whatnot. Right. But this guy may have the same ability. I don't know. Anyway, getting into the origin of the Honey Island swamp monster. Stories of this little creature go back actually hundreds of years. We're going to touch more on modern day stuff, but Native Americans of that particular area, which were the Choctaw and the Huma tribes, they called this creature Latish, and they described it as a meat-eating, human-like creature that lived in the water and on the land. And the Indians from the area believed that that swamp monster was once an abandoned child who was raised by alligators in the deep, dark regions of the swamp. Now, how many stories have we heard over the years? Even Disney, right?
Yeah.
You got Mowgli and all these different things where some little kid is abandoned. He's raised by wolves.
Right.
Or he's raised by a bear, or he's raised by, whatever the animal is in that area. And when you look at those stories, almost all of them came from Native American culture.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason for it is because those stories that they come up with actually have cultural meaning to them. It kind of emphasizes the importance of respecting nature and the consequences of straying from their tribal values. And so these kids end up being dropped off someplace in the woods and picked up by a group of whatever the animal was for that area.
Right.
And raised in that environment. And so they become these half human, half hybrid, whatever creature that was raising them. And they actually believe that some of these kids that were raised in the swamps have become alligator-like, but still have human characteristics. Now, I don't know how you would develop the three-toed, webbed foot, have your body covered in hair.
Yeah, and then your eyes change.
And then your eyes change to yellow reptilian eyes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that goes, but that's how the stories started back in the day. Kind of like for that same exact region, the loop guru, our favorite guy, the rougarou, which was changed, by the French term was loup garou, and then they changed it to rougarou. Some people actually think that this particular Honey Island swamp monster is a form of the rougarou. Now, those people don't obviously know the legends of the rougarou because, I'm sorry, but they're two different things.
Yep.
Rougarou's a guy who's cursed, turns into the rougarou, takes his vengeance out on those that
he's living the life.
Yeah, he's living right. He's living the life that we want.
Yeah.
That's not the case of this Honey Island swamp monster. And the Honey Island swamp monster is known to, I should say, because in this podcast, we're not going to talk about anything bad that this guy did because we don't know that he did. There's no evidence to suggest it, but everything I've read said that he is menacing. He will chase you out of the swamp area. He's been known to flip over boats, scare people to death, and no deaths have been associated to him, but he's kind of seen as like the protector of the swamp, which again, every time we talk about a cryptid, it's always like protecting an area or it's a menace. It's one or the other. And it just kind of depends on the belief structure at the time.
Right.
And who is telling the story. If it's the drunk on the porch, it's usually some horrible beast. Yeah. If it's Native American tale, it's a protector of the land and a spiritual guide and all these different aspects of what they could be. And what I've read about this guy is that he is a mean, nasty, vile thing that chases people out of the swamps. There's no evidence of that. Actually, when we get into sightings, there kind of maybe
a little bit, just a
touch. Little tiny bit that they were at least chased off, but he didn't try and kill them.
Right. Protector, it just kind of occurred to me, popped in my head. They call him protector of the land. It's probably just territorial. Because if you got to think, if you come into my house unwanted, I'm going to run you off.
Right.
Same as if you go into his area, which he considers his house, he's going to run you off.
Right.
He's not really protecting the land. He's protecting what he believes to be his land.
Right.
Potentially, obviously.
Anything would do the same.
Right. You go over where a bear's living or a pack of wolves. They're not just going to let you hang out and set up camp. They're going to chase you off.
Right.
So, I guess depending on how you look at it, you
Yeah.
can call it a protector of the land, but really it just wants to be left alone so it can eat its boar in peace.
That's right. Moving into another potential origin story. This is one of the strangest legends, actually. Supposedly in the 1960s, and it didn't say what year, but I would have to assume based on one of the sightings that occurred in 63, it would have to be the early 60s that this occurred. There was a train wreck near the Pearl River. And according to the legend, the train was full of exotic animals coming from a traveling circus.
What do you know?
Kind of another story.
Yeah. Just like, Polik, yeah.
Yeah, the Polik monster.
Or Polik, excuse me. Yeah,
he was He was the goat that had been mistreated.
Yeah.
And, well, he wasn't just a goat. He was a nasty, deformed
You ever
baby. He was a Rosemary's baby, that was tortured and then escaped from a train wreck.
Yeah, another traveling circus,
took
though.
his vengeance
Freak
out
show.
on the world.
Yep.
So this is the same. Another traveling circus. Animals tried to flee the train derailment, and of course they run into the swamps, and the ecosystem basically devoured them, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Between gators and snakes and panthers and God only knows what else was in there at the time. Most of the creatures were killed. But the legend goes on to say that a troop of chimpanzees actually managed to survive quite nicely in the swamp, and they went as far as to interbreed with the alligators, therefore resulting in this strange colony of reptilian mammals. Well, I don't think that can happen.
Yeah, I'm just not buying that.
No, it's a great story,
Yeah.
and I like it. And
I definitely think that if you threw them out there, they would survive.
I
do
think the
that.
monkeys would survive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they'd climb trees and stay away from
They're
things.
super smart.
Yeah. I think there's no doubt that the monkeys would survive there.
But I don't think they're out there mating with alligators and then having some reptilian chimpanzee offspring.
No. Which one would be the top? Let's put it that way. Is the alligator doing the monkey, or is the monkey on the alligator? Because then the alligator would have to lay eggs.
Yeah.
Right?
And whereas the chimp would give birth.
Cracks open and a monkey comes out of the egg.
Yeah. Monkey with reptile
Or
eyes
the
and feet.
monkey has to give birth to a live reptile.
Yeah.
And either way,
it has to be the monkey to the alligator. Because I would think if a gator saw a monkey, it's just trying to eat it, right?
I don't know, but just the visual image of either one is...
That's the most horrifying part of the story.
Oh, talk about just a violation. Anyway, I don't know, but you know what? I don't believe that you can cross match that type of DNA. I don't think, a horse with a donkey is one thing, right?
Right. The liger or the tiger, or
right.
The tigon or whatever the other mix is, where they do the
lion and the tiger.
And that thing, those they only live to be like 4 or something ridiculous. They die so quickly.
At least you're in the same species.
Yeah.
At least they're both cats. And to get the donkey and the mule and the horse, and they're all basically the same breed. So I can understand that. But I don't think you can cross a reptile with a mammal that doesn't lay eggs and have offspring.
And the first one you get produces the thing, and now it's just out there living?
Yeah.
I mean, there had to be a couple, like a foot growing out of its head and stuff.
Yeah,
it didn't turn out quite right.
Well, see, maybe that was the lizard man.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. But anyway.
That's why, to me, it's more likely that it's some demonic offshoot.
Right.
And
it has to be something that's so unnatural.
Right.
It wasn't bred and nurtured and raised, and then became what it is. I think it was created as it is.
Right.
Which takes us into the realm of you can't rule out demons.
Right.
I still believe that Dogman, Jersey Devil, just a host of different cryptids that we've talked about, if in fact they're real, which I'm going to have to say they are.
Right.
There's just too many people see them. They have to be something of a demonic realm or outside our world.
Right.
I'm not so naive as to believe that we know every living species on the planet. We discover new insects, new aquatic species.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Always something washing up on shore that we had no idea what it was.
I mean, just like the Amazon alone, there's...
just the floor of the Amazon,
yeah,
right, is so covered in insects and stuff that we probably don't know all of them.
I can't remember if I think I've talked about it before on here. I can't remember, but I remember reading an article, and this was a few years back now, but some wildlife biologist or something discovered this small section of the Amazon where the ecosystem was ever so slightly different. And they discovered like 14-ish different species of bird.
Oh,
like they were all like species that we kind of knew about. They were subspecies, I guess I should say. But that was just recently.
Right.
And so who's to say that there's not?
And so why can't there be a lizard man or a Huddy Island swamp monster?
It's the descendant of some Nephilim that...
Which you got to think that is a possibility.
Yeah, right.
I don't care what anybody says. And I'm sure there's a lot of people going to go, these two guys, literally, they're off their rockers.
Yeah.
But
it's more likely than a chimpanzee hopped off a train and started going to town on an alligator. Yeah,
exactly. Raped an alligator and they had a baby.
Yeah. What's that wedding like, by the way? Like
that lives forever.
Exactly.
Too.
And that's the other thing.
That's the other thing is spiritually, it doesn't have to die.
Now, what I don't know is, and this could be a whole other subject, but obviously Nephilim, fallen angels, does this thing. Their offspring, is it automatically evil, or because of free will can it choose?
Yeah, don't know.
Who knows, right?
Know.
I mean, it could be like this thing where it seems like it's chasing people off and it might be highly violent.
Yeah.
Or it can be like a Bigfoot that, you casually just see strolling around and he's eating deer every now and then.
Yeah, and he throws a rock at you to get you to go away.
Get out of here.
Trying to eat my dinner.
Yeah.
Back off.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
That part I don't know, but that's more likely than
there's no way that
circus train
anybody has the answers to this.
Right.
I know people that are going to say, okay, you two are crazy. None of this stuff is real. And for you to even talk about it is just stupid.
Right.
I do know people that have literally told me that.
Yeah.
The two guys that died in Washington searching for Bigfoot, but they died from the elements, right? It's too cold. They weren't prepared for it, whatever.
Right.
I know people that say, just a horrible waste of life. They go out there and they die for nothing because they don't exist. So why were they out there? This is ridiculous and enough is enough.
Yeah.
I know those people. And I know people that would say, who knows? I mean, the world is a strange place and these things could be out there. I have to look at reason. If 5,000 people saw something, then they saw something.
Yeah.
They're not all crazy. It's not mass hallucination.
And we say it all the time.
We do say this.
Even if out of the 5,000, only 10 of them saw it and the rest are mass hallucination. Yeah. 10 of them still saw it.
10 of them still saw it.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah.
So I believe that a lot of these creatures do exist. What they are, unknown.
And you know what? Minus obviously dying, God rest their soul, those two guys, they probably having the time of their lives out there before that.
Oh, yeah.
You're out in the wilderness looking for Bigfoot with your buddy. Like, how fun is that?
Yeah. I plan on doing it.
Yeah.
So,
meanwhile, the naysayers are the people probably triple vax sitting in their car with two masks on by themselves,
right, Exactly. Now learning of all the side effects of the COVID shot.
Yeah.
So anyway, the last theory just proposes that it belongs to an unknown, undiscovered species, possibly an ancient remnant of prehistoric reptile that adapted to the swamps. So I got no issue with that.
Got no issue with that. That's better than the monkey train.
That's better than the monkey train.
Yeah.
And of course the Native American lore of, abandoned kids, being raised by crocs. It's a great story for them to tell their kids 100 years ago. And it's still a fun story now.
You know what it probably is? It's probably one of the scare tactics that we talked about. That tribe probably saw it, and then now it's a campfire story that they tell.
You could become that.
If you don't listen and do your chores around camp and help out the tribe, you're going to get kicked out and you're going to be a little swamp creature.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would buy into that one.
Parents still do that with the boogeyman.
Well, of course.
You don't clean your room, the boogeyman's going to come out and rip your little toes off.
Yeah, and then there's the Bloody Mary, right?
Yeah.
Don't say that 3 times in the mirror.
There's all kinds. Yeah, exactly.
We have all kinds of things that we pass on to our kids to terrify them.
Right.
All right, let's move into sightings. Why don't you start with the first one? Because this one actually is probably the most important sighting.
Yeah.
Because the offshoots of this have kind of brought this monster more into modern day and things of evidential value.
Right.
So,
and not taken away from any of the other sightings. To me, this one's the most credible.
Yes.
Just in general.
Totally agree.
So the monster was first sighted in 1963 when Harlan Ford and his buddy Billy Mills, both of who were retired FAA air traffic controllers were out searching for an abandoned cabin that Ford had spotted from his plane that was deep in the Honey Island swamp. And this is just outside the place you were talking about, Slidell, Louisiana. That was the place you were talking about, right? That you had driven through? Okay.
Right. It's right off like the 59.
So it was so deeply secluded in the swamp that they had to drive their boat halfway to it, and then they had to walk the other half. So Ford and Mills were out hauling supplies to their camp when they noticed off in the distance what seemed to be a large animal on all fours feeding on another animal. So fearing that the animal would get frightened and try to attack them, they did what you and I would do. They pulled out their guns. And as soon as they did, the creature quickly stood up on 2 feet, looked him in the eyes, and took off running. Ford had documented the incident in a letter giving full description of the creature. He said it was about 7 feet tall, had dingy grayish hair, yellow eyes, and had a disgusting stench. Describing the creature, Ford said the following, quote, "It was nothing like I'd ever seen before, ugly and sinister, and looking like something out of a horror movie," end quote.
I can only imagine. You know, I remember, gosh, I don't even remember the year, like maybe 74 or something like that, when I went to go see the movie, The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a swamp monster, Bigfoot kind of a series.
Right.
And I think that guy's name was Mills too. I don't think it's the same guy, but when he's describing that, that's kind of what I pictured. Now, could you imagine being in such a remote area?
Yeah.
Nothing around you. You had to walk, you know, through this marshland to get back to this area, and you come across something like that. That'd be terrifying.
Well, that's why I said they did exactly what you and I would do.
Yeah.
You immediately pull out your firearm.
The first thing you do is get the gun out. You know?
I would be more happy. I'd be terrifying, but I'd be more happy that I had somebody there to witness it with me.
Right.
Because that would be the time that you're by yourself out there and you go back and you're like, hey, I was out, found this cabin, blah, 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 and this happened. And they're like, oh, come on.
That job.
You were
walked
scared.
Too long.
Yep.
You got, you know,
tired, probably
delusional.
dehydrated. Was it getting dark at the time? You probably couldn't see right. Anyway, so speaking of 1974, in 1974, Ford and Mills returned to the area on a duck hunting trip. The two had found several dead boars with their throats torn out along the way. Realizing the boars were too far from the water to have been killed by alligators, they started to think that maybe the monster that they had encountered 10 years earlier was involved, which now you have to be even a little more freaked out.
Right.
Because now you know that this thing's, vicious.
And there was validation to what you saw.
Validation of what you saw too.
Yeah. And so now, 10 years later, when you've got, you know, they're well past it.
Right.
And now it would just spark that whole
right back like nothing.
First encounter of, oh my Lord, there is something out here.
So then their suspicion was confirmed even more so when they noticed footprints, 3-toed and webbed, around one of the boars. So just like you said, it's more likely 3 toes, and that other toe is just a little...
Yeah, little offshoot thumb, that little...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rather than have a second run-in with the swamp monster, Ford and Mills retreated from Honey Island Swamp, and later that night they returned to make a cast of the footprints. And the cast they got was about 12 inches long and 6 inches wide.
Nice.
So then Ford took the track castings to the local game warden at LSU's College of Agriculture to be analyzed, but they could not identify what kind of animal left these tracks.
Which means...
Exactly.
This is what always drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wrote down in my notes, but this is just as good a time to say it. I don't know if these guys found it, but there were hair samples from this creature found as well. And I don't think it was at the same time of this. I think these were subsequent sightings where people found hairs like stuck on tree bark and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they took the hair samples in as well, and those were analyzed. And they came back with unknown results, and they had different origins for each one. What more evidence do you need than, hey, there is no control sample that matches this, and this footprint casting is of no known species to man.
Right.
Well, then what do you have out there? Well, you have the Honey Island Swamp Monster. That's what you got.
Because even if you say you guys are quacks, you didn't see what you... No, here's proof.
Identical story to the lizard man. Remember, he took the casting in?
Yep.
They said, this is no known species.
Yep.
There's nothing that makes a footprint like that. So then we were joking about how it could have been a 20-foot tall bird or whatever, with the 3 toes and the... But these are the things that irritate me is because that is evidence.
Right.
That is evidence that's just kind of been pushed aside. And scientists are saying, nope, this thing doesn't exist. Well, then what made the footprint and what left the hair behind?
Well, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Same scientists, we don't know.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't exist.
Right. Drives me nuts.
It's got to be misidentification.
As usual.
Yeah. So Ford decides to bring his camera with him from now on every time he goes back to the camp. It was thought that he was unable to ever capture any evidence of the beast on film until a discovery after his death in 1980. Ford's wife, Yvonne, found a reel of Super 8 film that he had shot from a tree blind. This film shows the creature walking behind rows of trees, and it's about 100 yards off. Now, you and I watched this.
Yes.
And it's hard to tell in the footage, but obviously it's clearly something big walking. And then at one point, it almost looks like it goes translucent. Now, I don't know if that's just the film, or if kind of like we were talking earlier, the theory is that it can make itself like that.
Right.
So,
well, Super 8 film was kind of grainy anyway back in the day because when you didn't have sufficient lighting, it did kind of get grainy. I had a little Super 8 when I was growing up.
Yeah.
We used to try and do little films and stuff all the time. The reason that I think that particular film is credible is because this guy wasn't out to make a name for himself. He shot that film, he had it, and he ends up putting it in his attic in a box.
Yep. For years.
For years. And so it wasn't like he was out there trying to promote himself or do anything, The Patterson-Gimlin film, probably one of the most famous films of all time. Depending on who you talk to, it's faked. It's not faked. It's perfect. The muscle structure can be seen, blah, 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 right? Everybody has a different take. This one, there's really nothing that you could pinpoint.
Right.
Because what is the film? 11 seconds long?
Yep.
Of what we saw. Could be longer, but it's very quick. But you have to ask yourself, he's in a tree blind. He's out there. He's had 2 different encounters with it. He decides to take his camera every time he goes into the swamp, and he happens to catch it once for just seconds. It's
unbeknownst to him, too.
Yeah, it's probably real.
Yeah.
And who's out walking through the swamp? Because it was a pretty big figure, too.
Right.
That was a big creature walking behind those trees. The translucency could just be because the film glitched or it was bad or it has the ability to disguise itself or camouflage itself into whatever its environment is.
Because, of course, I'm watching an 11-second YouTube video, so I don't know much about what's going on, but nothing else around it really does that. It's not like that whole portion of the film, that section is getting like that, or the entire shot's getting like that. It's just the figure.
Just the creature.
Which... I don't know.
But I buy it. I think it's a valid video. I don't think he had somebody out there trying to walk through the swamp to mimic this creature, so that he could become famous or something.
So that he could leave it in his attic for years and have his wife find it.
It's stuck in a box and it was thrown in an attic and she comes across it, after his death. So I think it's a valid film.
So the film was ended up being given to his granddaughter, Dana Holyfield, who has continued actually searching for the Honey Island Swamp Monster, and her work can be seen on honeyislandswampmonster.com.
Yeah, and I actually went on that and checked it out. It's not the greatest website. She did write a book. She made some little documentary films. She says flat out, I 100% believe my grandfather. Mm-hmm. I know that he saw it. She's taken the film in and whatnot. She's kind of semi-devoted her life to trying to prove that her grandfather wasn't a quack, that he actually saw this thing. And of course, she sells merch and stuff. So yeah, she is reaping the benefits.
Sure.
I'm sure she's making some pretty good money off of what her grandpa saw.
Right.
But it doesn't take away from the fact that grandpa saw something.
Right.
Right. Just because she's capitalizing on it. And I think really what she's trying to do is memorialize her grandfather, that he saw a cryptid, and now my life's work is to prove what he saw.
Yeah. So people don't think he's a quack.
Yeah. So I think it's pretty cool, actually, what she's doing.
So this footage has been analyzed by cryptozoologists who could not rule out the possibility that the film was genuine and that the creature exists. Which, I mean, how could you?
You can't.
You would just be, you'd be a jerk at that point if you're like, nope, it's fake.
Yeah.
Because you have no proof that it's fake.
Yeah.
You could be neutral on it. That's fine.
There's nothing in the film that would even take you in the direction of this is a hoax.
Right.
It's quick, it's simple, and all it is just a big figure walking behind the trees, and then you lose the film at that point.
Yep.
I don't know if he cut it off or
maybe that's the only portion you could see it, so that's the only portion that they uploaded.
Right. But I believe it exists. So moving on with a few more sightings, and then we're going to wrap up. 1981 report by a writer from The Advocate. I think it's called actually the Acadian Advocate. It's a little paper in Louisiana. And his name was Jerry Bro. And I know he has a son. So there's a senior and a junior. And Jerry Sr., I was trying to look into this a little bit, just passed away last year. And I don't know if it was him or if it's Junior. But he was a writer for The Advocate, and he recalled a conversation with a longtime friend that his name was Hubert. And his friend described a chilling encounter that he had one morning. And so Jerry wrote about it in The Advocate. He said that Hubert was out hunting for deer, perched atop an oak tree when he heard heavy sounds approaching from the woods behind him. Too afraid to move, he watched as this figure, about 8 feet tall and hairy from head to toe, passed slowly below him, eventually disappearing further into the woods. According to Bro, as Hubert retold this story, he began clenching his teeth and breathing rapidly as if he was reliving that terrifying experience. So based on where it occurred, it was probably the Honey Island Swamp Monster.
Right.
If it was just any normal remote woods area, then you could just say it was a Bigfoot.
Yeah. And you got to think, that probably was scary because it'd be scary enough to see it on the ground, but at least you're mobile on the ground, potentially mobile, obviously depending on where you're at. But you're talking about you're up in a tree stand. I mean, you have nowhere to go.
Yeah, I got nowhere to go. It's like the videos that I've seen where the black bear scales the tree and the guy's in the tree stands and he's like, whoa, 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 bear, whoa, 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 bear. Where do you go? You got
jump off and break your legs and get ripped apart.
That's you got nowhere to go. And if you got a Bigfoot or a swamp monster that's half reptilian, there's no doubt he could get up there and get you. Yeah. So you just got to be quiet and hope it goes by.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that was a terrifying experience. Another potential sighting. In 1975, a guy by the name of Ted Williams claimed to have seen the creature many times, actually. And he even believed there were multiple swamp monsters, which, a lot of people have said that about Bigfoot too, where they've seen more than just one.
Almost like a family or a pack,
right. And his quote was, "I could have killed them, but I didn't because they didn't seem to want to harm me." So one day, Ted takes his boat out into the swamp to set out his trout lines, never to be seen again. And so did the swamp monster get him? Did an alligator get him? Did he get lost and, drown? Who knows?
Yeah,
Nobody knows why. But here's a guy that claims to see the Honey Island swamp monster on multiple occasions. Then he goes out and never returns. So could this be a death by cryptid?
It's possible.
It is very possible.
Yeah.
And we'll never know on that particular one. In 2013, a guy by the name of Mike Woolley, he's a hunter and a filmmaker. He releases a movie called Skookum, The Hunt for Bigfoot. And this was based on his own encounter in the Honey Island Swamp. And he says he's out hunting for squirrels when he hears this loud roar behind him. So, he's terrified.
Yeah.
And I know that roar. I know that sound. Okay, so mine clearly was like Bigfoot. And I don't know what the Honey Island Swamp Monster sounds like. But I do know when you hear a sound that is not natural and not normal for the area, it's bone chilling. And so imagine standing out in a swamp, you're by yourself and you hear this loud earth shaking roar, So anyway, he turns around and what does he see? 2 creatures standing there, bipedal, hairy, nasty creatures about 50 yards away from him. So terrified, he raises his shotgun up, fires a round off at him. And you know what? You and I laugh about this all the time, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Well, I'd pop around at it too. Probably going to die because they're demonic and I wouldn't kill it. You know, we've always said that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this guy does. He
I don't
pops
blame
around.
him.
Of course, it doesn't faze him. Turns around. He takes off running as fast as he can go, which running through marshland is not easy.
Right.
And these things are chasing him.
See, that's...
Now, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
He does get away, obviously. And then he makes this movie based on his encounter. So, and I haven't seen that movie yet. I got to check it out. I don't know if it's like one of those little 16-minute documentary things or if it's a full-length movie feature, but got to look that up and see how he made this movie.
And that makes me think, too, that they, at least the ones he saw, didn't want to hurt him. Because if you're talking 7 to 8 foot tall creatures in their habitat.
Yeah. 400 or 500 pounds, web feet, they could chase you down.
You're done for. They're easily going to take you down.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen those videos of the Bigfoot, like traversing the mountain, how much ground it's taking up.
Yeah, just those ones here in Yellowstone National Park where they're running across the side of the hill. I think it's either one or two of them. And they've tried to recreate it too.
Yeah.
They've got some guy that, he's like a sprinter and stuff. They put him in a suit. He couldn't do it.
Right.
Those are Bigfoot. And people are going to say, oh, God, here they go again. But if a human can't recreate it, and you literally put a guy out there who is like a track star.
Right.
And he's running, because they had it marked out as well. Do you remember this video?
Yeah, oh yeah.
They have it all marked out, the exact path that this thing took, and they have him run it. And he can't recreate it, not in a suit. He's in like running shoes and shorts. Imagine putting me in a Bigfoot outfit on a hillside in Yellowstone because, the ground, the terrain is not like smooth. It's not like you're running on a track.
Right.
It's horrific. Just walking around going hunting is a chore sometimes. Imagine me trying to run and take those 5-foot strides and zoom across the hillside in
like nothing.
8 seconds, Yeah. It's just not going to happen. And the average hoaxer that's out there it'd be like you and me.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go get a fun picture, and I'm going to shoot you. We can't recreate what they can actually do.
No.
And so in this particular case, these things they'd have run this guy down and annihilated him in the swamp. So
Easily.
They clearly didn't want to hurt him.
Yeah. And maybe it's just this one time they didn't, and some of the other ones do. Who knows? But
they might have killed a couple of boar and they wanted to eat, and
they're just like, get away.
Just pissed them off. And so, they said, let's just chase this guy out of the area and go back and eat.
Yep. And it worked.
It worked. It worked perfectly. And then he made a movie. So
win-win.
Worked out for all of them. And then the last one I'm going to talk about here is there's a guy by the name of Neil Benson. Now, he currently owns the Pearl River Eco Tours. So he'll take you out on the swamp tour. But he says, quote, I don't care whether or not people believe in the Honey Island swamp monster. There are a lot of things in life that we believe in that we haven't seen, like God, which I don't like that statement. But, he said it. That's a quote. And then he says, I don't know what it was. I just know I saw something that day, end quote. So Benson doesn't literally claim I saw the Honey Island swamp monster. But what he is saying is that when he was 16 years old, and this is a quote, I was 16 years old, paddling away from my duck blind in a pirogue, which is a boat, little canoe. I saw something tall moving, unlike any creature I have seen move on 2 legs through water, unimpeded. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't like any man I've seen, end quote. So it doesn't really get into any kind of detail. And I think there's a reason for it because he does these swamp tours. And so if you look it up, it says that Benson will tell you his personal encounter while on the swamp tour.
Right.
And I'm sure that would be fun to listen to.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to go on one of those things.
Same. Okay, well, that wraps up the sightings because, like I said, the other sightings are just, I saw it here, I saw it there, and with no detail behind them. I think that Mr. Ford and the Mills guy, I think theirs is the most credible.
Absolutely.
They got footage, they got castings, they had multiple encounters with it. They saw it once, They saw it 10 years later, and then they got footage of it. And I think that theirs is clearly not just the most credible, but the most evidentiary. And there's no doubt in my mind that something was out there.
Right.
And all of these people saw basically the same thing.
Exactly.
Now, whether it's lizard man, a skunk ape,
combo,
an entity in and of itself, a chimp alligator, a Native American kid, that was raised by alligators. I don't know what it was, but there's something out there. Getting into just some fun stuff, swamp tours have become this popular attraction, both for, adventurers, enthusiasts, and just tourists traveling through Louisiana. And they like to go out and explore the mysteries of the Honey Island swamp. So you can go out and see all the wildlife and then dive into the folklore surrounding this elusive swamp monster. And the guides will tell you stories of sightings and legends. And they may be aware of, because they're local, they may be aware of sightings that are even more current day, things that we're not aware of, things that aren't even out there on the internet yet. Just, like locals tell them, hey, I saw the dang thing last week,
Yeah, and he'll throw that on the next tour.
And they'll throw it on the next tour. So they would be up on that stuff. And I'm sure that would be a lot of fun to do. I wanted to do it while I was there, but I didn't have the time for it. But next time I go back to Louisiana, I got to do the swamp tour.
Oh, yeah.
And so I looked up some of them. There are multiple, but I think the three big ones out there is this Neil Benson's Pearl River Eco Tours. That one is advertised quite extensively. There's one called Cajun Encounters. There's Dr. Wagner's Honey Island Swamp Tours. You can look up any of these on the internet. If you're ever in Louisiana and you're in Slidewell or Slidwell, however that's pronounced, that would definitely be something fun to do.
Oh, yeah.
I did look it up. The tours on all three of those, they start right at about $35 for adults. And then they can go up to like $95 depending on the package. But some of the package deals put you in a hotel, drive you to it, get you on the boat. It's an all-day tour.
The VIP benefit type stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then you do get to go out and see, if you don't get to see the Honey Island swamp monster, you do get to see like gators and raccoons.
Still fun, yeah.
And a lot of wildlife out there in the
Eaten
swamp.
alive by mosquitoes.
Smelling the stench of the stagnant water. It's got to be fun.
It's got to be a blast.
It has to be. And then when you're done, you stroll into town for some jambalaya and red beans and rice.
A couple of
beignets.
Some of that
bread pudding. Or
Cajun coffee or whatever that's got the chicory in it and stuff.
Oh, man, I'm telling you. The food in Louisiana is delicious. It's unbelievable. And then, you got to get a mint julep or something while you're there.
Right, yeah.
Just get the whole French Quarter experience, And if you get to see the Honey Island swamp monster.
Bonus.
Oh, man. To me, that would be just like a dream come true.
Yeah.
You got to see some cryptid that you get to go home, talk about the rest of your life, and everybody tells you you're a nut.
Yep. Rolls their eyes every time you bring it up.
But I can't think of anything more fun than that. The popularity phase that we usually hit on, this swamp monster has been featured on several things. He's in a lot of different movies. There's a lot of little documentaries. I just wrote down a couple of them. In Search Of, which was you remember that show?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Season 2, episode 16, aired back on March 4th, 1978. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I did not take the time to research this, but I believe that Mr. Ford was on that show.
Oh, really? Now I'm going to have to go back and watch.
And so, if you look up In Search Of was the name of the TV show, I'm almost positive Ford was on that episode and they were talking to him and other witnesses of the Honey Island swamp monster. So that would be my starting point. That'd be the fun one to watch. And then in September of 2014, the Discovery Channel, they did an episode on swamp monsters. Season 1, episode 2, specifically to the Honey Island swamp monster. I don't remember ever watching that. Did you?
I don't either. And I was trying to think because I was reading the list we have here, and I haven't seen the In Search Of episode. I'm pretty sure I've seen the other two that you're about to talk about, but I don't know if I've seen that one.
Yeah. Well, apparently they had a show just literally called Swamp Monsters, and they went from different swamps. So, they probably had the Lizard Man episode as well.
Right.
Because he's a swamp monster.
Yeah. I mean, he better be on there.
If he's not, then there's no reason to
I'll
watch
never
the
watch
show.
it.
Yeah. 2007, Legend of the Honey Island Swamp Monster, which was a documentary by Dana Holyfield.
Yeah.
So the granddaughter of the guy that first saw it in 1963, she's actually done a documentary. That would probably be a good one to watch.
Yeah, and I misspoke earlier. I haven't seen that one. I've seen just the other one that you're about to talk about. But yeah, that would be a good one to watch too.
Monsters and Mysteries in America, Season 4, Episode 3 was the episode of Swamp Monsters and Night Stalkers.
And the funny thing is, I don't even really remember that episode, but I know I've watched all of the Monsters and Mysteries in America. So.
I was addicted to those shows. The last thing, we always talk about the festivals.
Yep.
And we've literally missed every festival of every cryptid in every town across this country.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, if there was one like right next door to us, we would have missed it by a day.
Oh, yeah. It probably happened 2 days ago.
Yeah. But they have a festival called the Honey Island Swamp Festival, and it's actually occurs in Pearl River area. And I don't know, in this particular case, I did not really look into it. I didn't feel like going on Facebook and looking it up. But I think the last one was in 22 or 23. So they didn't have a 24 festival that I'm aware of. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I don't know that it literally features the swamp monster. So,
and if it doesn't, it's a terrible festival.
Yeah. Why would you have a festival and not bring up the monster? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So they have a monster truck rally, which leads me to believe that they would talk about the Honey Island Swamp Monster since you have monster trucks.
Yeah.
Barbecue, music, rides, entertainment. It's supposed to be a great little gig, Run out there. It's like $5 or something to get in. Or I don't even know if it's that. It might be free. It'd be fun, but if they're not going to talk about the monster,
I'm not going.
I don't want to go. Yeah. And lastly, there's also a place that you can visit if you are in Louisiana, and it's about 25 miles away from the swamp. It's a museum called the Abita Mystery House, and it actually has the plaster cast of the footprint of the swamp monster.
Gotta go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
$5 to get in. It's a little roadside place, tiny little place.
True, usually the best places.
Best places, right? They always have some odds and ends things that, you can go home and tell your family about.
Yeah. A little knick-knack you could pick up to show.
But they actually have the casting of that three-toed footprint. And so next time I'm there, I have to go see it.
Yeah.
And it's worth $5.
Oh, yeah.
Take a picture of that. Well, and if they say no pictures allowed, I'm taking it.
You just snap one anyway, yeah. Call the cops, get out of here.
That's right. Anyway, I think that's all we've got for this week.
Yeah.
And do you have anything else?
No, that's only thing I have is it's not just a Bigfoot.
No.
Just to reiterate.
That's right. It's out there, though.
Yeah.
It's been seen. It left footprints. There's video evidence of it.
It's chasing people. It's killing things.
It's killing things. It's there.
Yep.
So if you're ever in Louisiana, go on the swamp tour. Hope that you get to see it. If you do, call us. We need to know.
Yep.
Immediately.
Yeah.
In the next 2 weeks, our next episode will be the Mothman.
Mothman.
And you got to love the Mothman.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
As I am about all of them, I'm excited about this one too.
It's always fun to talk about the unknown.
Yep.
And we have a great time doing it. Hope that you're enjoying it as well.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the show and you want to help us out, then go ahead and give us a follow, leave us a review, and don't forget to turn on the automatic download button so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. And as always, if you've had any experiences, stories, thoughts, comments, or questions, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email to cryptidfanatic@gmail.com. Let us know if you'd like to be on the show or just have your story featured during one of our episodes.